Hi guys, this is lesson 5.2, smoothing a time series. Lesson 5.2 objectives are to look at how do we smooth a time series, smoothing using a moving mean, so a 3 moving mean, 5 moving mean, or a 2 moving mean with centering, and we'll look at smoothing using a moving median as well, so 3 and 5 median smoothing. So what is smoothing and why do we do it? So smoothing involves just replacing your individual data points on your time series plot with their moving mean or moving median, depending on which method you're using. So if you're using a moving mean method, which is the first one I'll start off with, the simplest thing to do is use an odd number of points. So if you just look at an example here, say we've got 5 points here on our time series graph. So if we're going to smooth using a moving mean, so if we use a 3 moving mean, we take the data point and the 2 points next to it, so we'll do these 3. And basically this data point here, the one in the middle, we take the average or the mean of these 3 data points, and whatever that is, we replace, so the value of that average, we replace this second data point with its mean, or the moving mean. And so what this does is it smooths out the data, it sort of removes the effects of spikes and dips, so your sort of fluctuations in your series, your time series. Smoothing it smooths it out, as the name suggests. So it can help also to try and identify trends a bit better, because if you've got a few outliers maybe, or big dips and spikes in your plot, it can sort of obscure the trend. So by smoothing, it helps to do that. So that you can do a 3 moving mean, a 5 moving mean, or you can do how many odd number, so 7, 11, 9, whatever you want. You'll only ever be asked to do a 3 moving mean or a 5 moving mean, or you could be asked to do a 2 moving mean. So that involves just taking 2 data points, and then it's a bit more complicated, but I'll go over that in a bit. So using your 3 moving mean, so we're looking at our y values. So if we just look at x and y here, each x value, it stays in the same spot. So this point 2 here, it's going to stay on this x value in this spot. The only thing we're changing when we smooth the time series plot is the y value, or the value of the response variable. So dependent on time, each point stays at its original time value, but by smoothing we're just changing the response variable, or the variable that's affected by time, the value of that. So we'll just use the notation of x and y. So your smoothed y2 point, so obviously if you're using 3 moving mean smoothing, the first point and the last point in your time series plot, they just get dropped off, because you can't smooth those points, because there isn't one point either side, because they're on the end. There's only one point next to it. On the other side there isn't another point, so you can't smooth it. So the first point you do is this second one, y2, and so the value of that now is just going to be the mean between those 2 points, so 1 either side, so y1, y2 and y3, so that's point 1, 2 and point 3, and then divided by 3, taking the average, and that'll give you your value for your smoothed point, and then you can plot that back on your point, plot that point back on your time series plot, and then you do that for every subsequent point until you get to the second last one. That's the last point you can smooth using a 3 moving mean, and the last point you can't do because there's not one point either side of it, so they just get left out. The 5 moving mean is the exact same thing, except the first 2 points and the last 2 points are left out, because again this involves taking 2 points either side, so 5 points. So 5 moving mean means 5 points. So you start with your y3 value, and it will just be the average or the mean of the 2 points either side. So y1 all the way up to y5, add them together, divide by 5, and that will give you your value. So when you're doing 5 moving mean smoothing, the last two and the first two data points are left out. So for such a small plot like that, 5 moving mean wouldn't be very useful. But anyway, so you may be asked to just calculate the 5 moving mean for 1 point, or you may be asked to smooth the whole time series, so draw on the time series or your smooth points. It just depends. So lastly, we'll look at 2 moving mean with centering. So this is a little bit more complicated, and what this involves is so we're looking at only 2 data points, so one either side, and we only take the mean between the point on each side, take those 2 means, and then we take the mean of those 2 points to center the data point back in that right value, so the same time value. So for example, so say we had a time period 1, time period 2, time period 3. We had some values, so our y value was 10 here, so it was 8 here, and say it was 9 here. So to do a 2 moving mean, so we're focusing on this point here, we're doing it for point 2. So we take the mean between the point, so the point next to it on one side, take the mean of that. So it's going to be 10 plus 8 over 2, so that'll give you 9. And then we take the mean of the other point on the other side with our point that we're smoothing, so the 8 and 9. So 8 plus 9 divided by 2. So that's going to give us 17 divided by 2. And then lastly, so now we've taken the mean between the 2 sets of 2 points, and that value will be centered in between these 2 points. So I've got these 2 values in between these 2 points. It's not centered on this line, so these points go in between here. They're not centered on the line we want it to be. So we want it to be centered to that same time value where this point 8 lies. So what we can do, we take the mean of these 2 points again, and that will give us our 2 moving mean for the point 8 that's been centered. So centered on that alignment. So on a time series scale, if we've got our points here, you've taken the mean of, I'll draw this in blue, the mean of these 2 points goes there, the mean of these 2 points goes here. You take the mean of these 2 blue points that are directly in the middle of all the other points, and that'll lie on the same line here. So that'll lie on the same line as this black dot here, where we're looking at. That's not very good. So our blue dot's going to lie here, on this line here, centered correctly. So 9 plus 17 on 2, that's going to be 8.5, divided by 2, so that's going to give us 9 plus 8, so 17.5 divided by 2. And so that's going to give us 8.75. So that's our 2 moving mean with centering for this point 8. So that's 2 moving mean with centering. Now we'll move on to smoothing using a moving median. So smoothing using a moving median, it's easier than smoothing using a moving mean, and it's all can all be done qualitatively, just looking at a time series plot. So if we've just got a few dots here on our plot, we connect them. All we're doing, so again, it's the same principle with the 3 and 5. You drop off the first and last, or with your 5 median smoothing, you drop off the first 2 or the last 2, because again, you just need 3 points, so 1 either side for 3. Same thing for 5. And what you do is you just take the median of these 3 points. So whichever point lies in the middle, and we're just looking at its value on the y-axis, its y value, because its x value, the middle value is always going to be the point we're looking at. So in this case, the middle value is the value of this second point, so we'll mark it with an X. Looking at the next one, the middle value, so this point here, here, and here, we're looking at these 3 points of 1 either side. The middle value is going to be this one here. It's slightly higher than that one, so it's below this one but above this one, so we're just looking at the one in the middle. So that's our value. And so you'll plot the point in line, so in line with your x variable here at that height. So if you go along, do it again, this is pretty close, so it's going to be about there, next one there, next one there, and last one you can't do, and then you just draw your line here, and now you've got your data, but it's been smoothed using 3 median smoothing. So 5 median smoothing, it's the exact same idea, but you just take the 5 data points, so 2 either side of the data point you're looking at. So here we might have 2 data points either side, for example. Hold on, use a different colour. Oh my god, sorry. Alright, the yellow will work. So we're looking at this point here, there's 2 points either side of it, and we just take the median of these 5 points, but looking at each point's y value. So these 2 points are pretty much the same, so we'll call that one the lowest, this one the second lowest, this one the highest, this one the second highest. So obviously the one in the middle, or the median, is this point. So our smoothed value for this x value point is going to be at the same y value of this point. For example, say we had this point was here, 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 one here, and one up here. So joining all these up, looking at this middle point again, start by counting the 2 top ones. So this one first, then this point, and then the 2 bottom ones. So this one's the lowest, this one's the second lowest. So this point here is our median, or the y value for this point is our median of these 5 points. So therefore on this x line here, we would plot a smoothed point here. So in line, so on that height, this height here, on that line on your y axis, but the point is still in line with the original point on the x axis. So that's how you smooth a time series using median smoothing. Lastly, we'll just have a quick example question looking at smoothing a time series plot using 3 median smoothing. So we'll just draw up our plot here. Alright, here we go. So let's connect this like a time series plot would be. Every point connected. Okay, so let's start. First point we leave out, don't need to mark in. Second point, okay, it's clearly in the middle already, so our marked point, we'll just use an X to mark it. It's just going to be exactly at that point. Next point, we'll do the same thing because it's clearly in terms of height in the middle of the 3 points surrounding, so the 2 points to the side. This next point, this one here, so the point to the right of it, that's going to be our median value, so we'll do an X here at that height, but at the point we're smoothing, so forth. Keep doing this. So next one will go there. For this one, we'll go here, and then we start. There's 2 here that are clearly in the middle. The next one will go here. Next one will go here. Next one will be here and here. So hopefully you can follow that. Why I've selected all these points to smooth. Last thing to do is just to connect them all up. So a straight line between each point. Make sure you use a ruler when you're doing this on a sheet of paper. And as you can see, this time series plot has now been smoothed. So the big peaks, it no longer goes as high, and those big drops, it no longer goes as low. It's been smoothed out slightly. So that's the aim of smoothing. Basically, just smooth your time series plot. So that's how you do it. Example with 3 median smoothing. So that's it for lesson 5.2.